How's it going, Yankee fans? My name is Alex with my co-host here, Nick Nielsen, and we're looking ahead to October right now. What is the New York Yankees batting order going to look like? Of course, we acquired Harrison Bader right before the deadline in exchange for Jordan Montgomery, and he is expected to make an impact come October in the postseason. Very much considered one of the best defensive center fielders in baseball. Has a decent offensive streak to him, not much power, makes good contact, gets on base at about 30%, so has some value there. Of course, he would kind of be replacing Aaron Hicks, in my opinion, in center field, Judge and right, and then Benintendi in left. And of course, you have Stanton in that DH spot if he's healthy. He's dealing with Achilles tendonitis right now. So, Nick and I have different, projected batting orders for the postseason. So we're going to discuss why we have them in specific areas and why we have specific players in spots that may be able to leverage other spots and, just kind of the reasoning behind those. But before we dive into these awesome different projected lineups, Nick, how you doing, my friend?
I'm great. Last night's game was one of the worst games, or yesterday's day game. Excuse me. I was in class during it, so fortunately, I didn't get to watch Garrett Cole's first inning from hell. But I'm doing well, all things considered. This move is kind of growing on me as the days go by, and as people give their reasoning behind it and try to make sense of it. But if I'm being honest with you, Harrison Bader is not a game changer for this season. Which is why I'm not a huge fan of the move, because it seems as though Cashman is looking much more ahead to 2023 than all the Yankees fans are, because it's like, why are we looking ahead to next year and trying to work on next year's lineup when everyone here thinks that this is the year to push for a World Series ring? So I was a bit shocked by that final deadline move. As you know, Ryan and I went live and posted it literally 20 minutes, 15 minutes after the move happened. I was beyond words for what happened. And then finding out that Bader's in a boot made it all the more like, what's going on here? But I do think Bader brings a lot of value, especially in the postseason if he's healthy. I am excited to talk about our lineups because, like you said, we got some different ones, some different players at the bottom of the lineup specifically. Maybe I'm a bit more optimistic than you are about one or two of these guys, but I don't know. I've got high hopes for this Yankees team, even with the Bader acquisition. Monty's a big loss, but apparently he wasn't in the Yankees' plans. So got to trust him. They haven't really done anything to lead me astray the past couple of years.
Yeah, we just kind of have to put our faith in Brian Cashman right now, and hopefully they, made the right decision here. It's interesting because Harrison Bader did speak yesterday to the media about his injury and exactly when he expects to make this return. He said he expects to come back in September. He expects to make an impact in some way this season. If he's not, I imagine, the Yankees are probably going to want so here's the deal. If they don't get Harrison Bader back for the postseason, he only comes back in 2023. The Yankees actually get to take a minor league player from the St. Louis Cardinals. So that's kind of like the contingency if he doesn't play in the postseason.
So that's
but I think he will have
NL that they said.
Right, exactly. And the Yankees, exactly, player to be named later. And also, I think that there's a huge benefit here because one, he's a little bit more consistent of a hitter than Aaron Hicks. Maybe doesn't take as many pitches, maybe doesn't walk as much, but definitely makes a little bit more contact. But he's also just a stud defender, right? He has range like we've never seen in center field with this Yankee team. He's also stolen 15 bases this year. So you're talking about a guy who has plus speed and plus defensive qualities, and he's a good enough hitter that he'll get on base and do some stuff for you. When he gets on base, he's stealing bases and he's making an impact. A single turns into a triple and gets him to third base. If he's on second base, a bloop single gets him home. He's scoring on that.
He was also a lot more aggressive this year on the base paths than any year of his career. He got injured with plantar fasciitis. So the one worry I do have is that that'll mess up his athleticism and that he'll be kind of bogged down by that a little bit. But at the same time, the way baseball injuries are going, plantar fasciitis 5 years ago for Greg Bird is probably not as problematic as an issue as it is now. Medical science is literally improving tenfold every day, I feel like. So if Bader can come back healthy and looks good in center field, that's an amazing acquisition. When he's on his best, the only guy that's rivaled him in the past 2 decades in center field is Kevin Kiermaier. And a prime Kevin Kiermaier was absolute must-watch TV. This is the next coming of Kevin Kiermaier. He's a little bit better offensively as well. And this season was kind of an anomaly for him offensively. Like I said, he started stealing bases at a lot more of an exuberant clip. 15 in 72 games for Bader. His previous career has 15, but he played 108 games that season. And then, of course, you add into it, like you said, he's not going to walk as much as Hicks. But the weird thing is that for a couple of years there, he hovered around that 9.5% walk percentage. And then this year it's down to 5. But his strikeout rate's also down to 17% this year. So if Harrison Bader comes back healthy in literally like a month from today, roughly, I'll be fine with this deal, because that means we at least get someone that's going to contribute to this team and is literally the best 1% of outfielders in baseball defensively. Like, there is probably no one better than Harrison Bader defensively. He covers so much. We were talking about how much fun it was to watch Michael A. Taylor play defense, and how much ground he could cover. Harrison Bader is going to make Michael A. Taylor look like a replacement player. Like, he truly is an elite defensive player. My only question to you, and this will kind of get into our lineups here as we break them down, you think Bader will be starting in the postseason, like game 1 lineup? You think his bat will be good enough to carry him and warrant his defensive spot, basically kind of kicking out one of like Matt Carpenter likely to the bench? And that's my only problem with the Bader acquisition, is that putting him in this lineup, he's batting 9th. Because of the fact that he's got speed, he can turn the lineup around, but also he would be the worst offensive player in this lineup, assuming IKF gets sent to the sun. And it wouldn't be a question. So I don't know if I'd have him cracking my day 1 postseason lineup, but do you have him in yours?
Yeah. So okay, let's start one by one here. We'll go through the lineup, and so we're on agreement. DJ LeMahieu is our leadoff hitter. Like, that's for sure. The guy's been
DJ
electric.
MVP.
MVP. He's absolutely crushing right now. The ground balls have seemed to dissipate. He's gone through his phase early in the season, the DJ ground out, whatever. But now he's getting it in the air. He's slapping them to Oppo Field. He's getting the ball. He's spraying it all over the field. He's hitting homers again.
Beautiful.
He's coming in clutch. The other day, the Yankees were down to the Mariners, and they ended up losing the game anyway. But he got on base and gave Aaron Judge a chance, and Aaron Judge got on base. They ended up losing, but it was nice to see
multiple games now. I think it's been like 6 games in a row where he's reached base multiple times. Like, he's becoming one of the most difficult outs. And it's not because like pitchers are afraid, oh, he's going to launch one to the seats like they are with Judge. It's because you can't shift on DJ. You have 4 infielders in. DJ still going to find a hole. And like you said, he's not hitting as many ground balls this year. DJ has turned into the perfect leadoff hitter once again. So DJ leadoff, absolutely. And then I'm just going to go ahead and say it for you, Judge too. Duh.
Obviously, yeah. So Judge is in the number 2 slot. He's the guy you want behind DJ LeMahieu, who's getting on base at a ridiculous clip right now. I'll look up his exact numbers so you have an idea of just how well he's playing. So right now he's getting on base.
387, 390 OBP guy.
Yeah, so he's hitting 290, 39% on base rate right now. He is absolutely crushing and getting – yeah, you did nail that. So Judge being behind him is exactly what you want, because DJ gets on base so much that you're hoping that Judge hits that 2-run homer, and he's doing that. So you're getting that early lead, and you kind of have to roll with that moving forward. So Judge, obviously, Rizzo in the 3 spot's been absolutely crushing lately, hitting the homers. Honestly, every time Rizzo gets up to the plate, he just looks like he's going to hit a home run. He has such a good eye. Fastballs inside and low absolutely obliterates them. Hanging sliders obliterates them. Like, the high fastball sometimes can get him. But ultimately, that's all batters. If you get those high especially lefties, those, like watching Gallo, sometimes you just don't have that range of motion. But Rizzo, man, like, what are you thinking about him in the 3 spot? I think that's pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, Rizzo is our premier power left-handed bat to split up Judge and Stanton. That's why we got him. And like, even if he's batting 230, who cares? The dude's selling out for home runs, and he'll probably hit 35 to 40 home runs this year. And what I love about that is that now outfielders are starting to play back a little bit more with Rizzo. So he's getting a lot of those bloop singles, those long or those short doubles that he's able to stretch into a double. Like, Rizzo has been everything you could have wanted out of the first base position this year. I know his defense is a bit weird, but like, mind you, when you're having to pick terrible ass throws from IKF all day, you probably have negative defensive metrics too. But Rizzo's absolutely my 3-hole guy. And then from there, you got to go Stanton. Like, Stanton healthy is absolutely like a must right behind him. And I know people may still be like, oh, Judge Stanton back to back. We got to try it. Every time we've tried it, it has never worked out. So having that lefty in there like Rizzo that sees a lot of pitches, that's able to hit it to all parts of the field, and that is selling out for the home run because of the fact that Dylan Lawson's like, hey, dude, You're really good still. You've got so much power. Just sell out more. And he's done that, and now he's showing it off. That 1-2-3-4 is, I still think, is the best 1-2-3-4 in baseball, even with the Padres. Call me crazy. The Padres have an amazing team, but I still like our chances.
Absolutely. I always like our chances with those four guys. You know, Stanton being the cleanup guy. I just can't watch Josh Donaldson hit cleanup.
No, Josh Donaldson's nowhere near this postseason starting lineup.
Oh, no. Like, I mean, look, defensively, he's having like a Gold Glove year, but like you're looking at him offensively, he offers you almost nothing. He does not get on base.
Like he played really well yesterday. Yesterday he had the home run and the double, right?
Right.
Like that's big for JD. Hopefully that's a sign that he's finally coming around and he's going to be this $25 million third baseman. I don't know if I believe it though.
I do not think that that's probably going to be the case. Next year, you're probably using him as like as a filling guy. I think
he's your bench piece 100% next year.
Yeah, IKF ends up at third, and I think Oswald Peraza probably starts at short. But actually, yesterday he didn't do shit. Yesterday he had 2 strikeouts over 4 at bats. It was on Tuesday that he had to homer.
My bad.
In the double. So yeah, yesterday he did nothing, dude. Last month, 195, 23% on base, right?
It's because he's playing every day, like every day.
Which should help you offensively, though. Like, which should help you offensively in terms of consistency.
Yeah,
like,
but for a guy that's 37 and has rough body already, like I do think he's just a guy that is like, we need to play him twice a week, 3 times a week.
Yeah, but coming off the All-Star break, like straight up. So he came off the All-Star break. So Saturday, July 16th against Boston, struck out 3 times. He had 5 days off. 5 days off. Had 2 hits. He actually had 4 hits in the next 2 games. Then had 3 strikeouts, and it didn't record a hit for 3 straight games. And then only recorded 2 hits for the entirety of the rest of July. Like he actually started strong.
He does not crack this lineup at all. Not even close. Unfortunately. Like I loved JD when we got him. You know this. He was my guy at first. And then everything happened with the TA, then he got injured, and then he went on the IL, then he came back, and since then he just hasn't been the same. So he's a great guy to have on the bench, though. Veteran presence, has been to the postseason before, former MVP. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's a bad player, but he's just not a starting player on this team. No shot in hell. But this is where our lineups do start to differentiate a little bit, this 5 through 9. My 5-hole hitter, I have Matt Carpenter for game 1 of the postseason. Because I think we have Judge in center, Giancarlo or Carpenter in right. I couldn't care less. And that is the lineup you run out. And then if you're up 3-0, 3-1 in the 6th inning, then Harrison Bader comes in the game. But I don't see why Harrison Bader should be getting at bats over Matt Carpenter in a playoff game, especially if it's a righty on the mound. Honestly, if it's a lefty on the mound, like Matt Carpenter clobbers lefties. He's got like a 270 WRC plus against lefties this season. So that's my one big gripe with the Bader trade that I guess people have talked about a little bit, but not a ton, is that him coming now in September and October will force someone to lose their at-bats. And if that's someone's Hicks, okay. Hicks has struggled a little bit the past week, especially. I think he's like over 23 right now in his last 23 at-bats. I'm not going to hop on the Hicks hate train because he's doing everything you'd want a 4th outfielder to do. Hicks is not a starting everyday outfielder, but Harrison Bader is. So it's like it just becomes this now problem the Yankees have where it's like, I guess they don't want to use Stanton at all in the outfield. Maybe Carpenter takes Donaldson's at-bats at 3rd now for the next month. Like it's just a kind of weird configuration. But my 5-hole hitter is the tried and trusted blasting, smashing, mustaching Matt Carpenter.
Yeah, so that's an interesting one, right? So you have him in the 5 spot?
Yes, I have him after Stanton.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, Carpenter has been unbelievable for this team. But with that being said, I think that Stanton's probably going to play DH most of the time. I think they're going to want it, but the thing is here's the thing about Stanton. I do not trust him to stay healthy playing in the outfield.
Really?
The Achilles tendon. I mean, dude, he's Achilles tendonitis.
Yeah, but
he plays in the outfield, he's going to get injured.
That was just such a
he's
dumb
going to get hurt
thing.
again. It is, but the ankle injury before that, he's going to get hurt playing in the outfield, bro. Like I would be ready to guarantee if he plays outfield every day in the postseason, he will get hurt. I do not trust him.
I guess this is just like in a if we have to play the Astros in like game 1 against Justin Verlander, you want your best lineup out there, you know? And I just don't, and I think that Carpenter has to be in that lineup. How can you not have Matt Carpenter in your lineup right now if you're the Yankees? The dude yesterday was the only guy doing anything. Like
Yeah,
he's one of the few players that any position they put him at, his bat just carries over. It's really, really weird. Two,
it is.
they brought him in for nothing, and he's literally turned into the biggest story of the season for the Yankees. Like, I'd probably say the third biggest, the third biggest. I think the four big stories for the Yankees this year are like Judge chasing, Maris, and at this point Barry Bonds. You've got Nestor Cortez being an absolute monster after being, as you know, like the 36th round pick. And then you've got the third one is right there. Damn it. Why am I blanking on it? Oh, anyway. Oh, yeah. Matt Carpenter. Sorry. I was just talking about like Matt Carpenter. That is like, he's the guy that everyone counted out. And now he's just killing any pitcher on the mound. And he's doing so with like a swagger that we haven't seen in a while. Like the dude embodies everything you want in your team. And I think he has to be in the lineup. So I have him and Glaber because I know you have Glaber batting fifth.
I have him sixth. I have Benintendi.
So yeah, we have Glaber
fifth,
sixth as well. We're
right.
agreeing on that.
So I have Benintendi fifth because he gets on base a lot, and Glaber's been slugging a lot this year. That's kind of like Glaber has these like strange opposite field homers where like he just slaps one to right field, and I think that Benintendi being able to get on base a lot is going to help this team. He walks, I think having a guy who can slug after that is nice. But I do understand like look. Matt Carpenter is going to be on this team in the postseason.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it.
At least
he's going to be on the bench. And they can call him in at any given moment. If Stanton gets injured, they have a guy that can come in and slug. He should be that cleanup guy. I think he should be batting fourth over Josh Donaldson for sure. Who I don't even think is in this lineup for either of us. So Benintendi, though, I like him at 5 because he gets on base, and Glaber's been slugging this year. And then you have another guy there who might be able to get on base and just do some stuff. And Benintendi's a decent runner. He can do some stuff on the base paths. So I like Benintendi in the 5 spot
already with us. Still,
I know.
With the Royals, and he's like, "Fuck that! I want to run now."
Exactly. So he's feeling good. I think he's 1 for 20 right now for the Yankees. He's not hitting very well, but I'm not worried about that.
Walks.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. He's walking a ton. He's getting on base, which is all I care about. A walk is a single to me at the end of the day. So like, and actually a walk is better than a single to me because not only are you getting on base, but you're forcing a pitcher to throw more pitches to get on base. So bam, nailed that one. So
Ryan,
I like that.
I'm going to clip this and send it to Ryan. He's going to be so happy because his least favorite thing for pitchers is walks. He's like, I don't give a shit if you give up 10 hits and they're 10 singles. I'd much rather see that than you give up 10 walks.
Absolutely. So I got Benintendi at 5. I'd love to hear your perspectives on that, whether you would have Carpenter or Benintendi, Stanton in right field. These are definitely some interchangeable things here, which I would love to hear your perspectives of.
It's an embarrassment of riches right now.
It is. And then, Glaber in 6, we agree. He's been doing well enough. 16 homers this year. He's hitting like 250, getting on base like 30%, so 31%. Not bad at all. 7, I have Harrison Bader. I have him in the if he's healthy, I have him starting for this team because his range defensively is unbelievable. He is not only elite runner, but he's an elite center fielder defensively. He covers so much ground, and with the teams we're going to have to play in the postseason, we're going to need a guy like that because teams are going to hit off of us. They are going to hit. You need to have a good defender in center field, and having Aaron Judge in right field for the record is great because it also mitigates injury for him because he doesn't have to utilize all that room and increase the probability of maybe tweaking something. So I like Judge in right field again. Benintendi left and Bader in center field. He gets on base too. I think he's hitting 250 with about a 30% on base rate. So not terrible, but he's serviceable.
He's a nice little second leadoff hitter in that 7 hole as well because he's got all that speed, like you said. He can honestly muscle a couple out. Like this guy has like 15, 20 home run power. So it's like he's not just this weak slap shot hitter that's only defense. The problem with Bader is that every year the Cardinals have hoped that this would be the year he puts together a 260 season, and it never is. Harrison Bader's a quality hitter, not a great hitter. He's like a couple of points above average, like a lifetime 100, basically, WRC plus hitter. But if we can get him to be a 110, 108 WRC plus hitter with his defense, that's incredibly valuable. My only counter is that I just don't know. What would you say is more important? Or I guess I'll ask this to the people as well, for those watching. Leave it in the comments. What is more important to you guys in a playoff game? Having Harrison Bader get 4 at-bats and play elite center field defense, or have Matt Carpenter get 3 at-bats, and either play right field or DH and have potentially Giancarlo Stanton in right field or DH. So that's the thing. Do you want to sacrifice some of that defense for their offense, or do you want to have literally one of the best defensive center fielders in the game, but a mid-offensive bat in the postseason? It's a lot to ask. Like honestly, the Yankees clearly valued the latter. They said that he's going to be a perfect late inning guy for replacements, for speed, for base running, because he does have 70+ grades on both. But my problem with it is it's like, you better hope he comes back healthy and looking good. Because like you said, plantar fasciitis is not easy to kick. It's not something that's just like, oh yeah, this is like a 2-week thing and I'm good to go. Like he's already been out for a month and he's going to be out for another month. So like it's something that lingers a bit. So that's the other reason why I'm like, I don't even know if he's going to be ready. It's just the whole team construct right now is so much talent and not enough spots to go around. And in the postseason, we're going to see someone sit. And I guess this is where we get to the end of the lineup, 8 and 9, because I have Benintendi batting 7th, and you have Bader.
Okay.
Because we have, as you know, Carpenter and Bader, different guys in the lineup. And I will say your point about Judge in right field as well, for as amazing of a job as Judge has done in center field this year, literally did what very few people could do, let alone 6'7" people in their contract year chasing an MVP. He's so much better in right field defensively. Like he is undoubtedly the best defensive right fielder in baseball. And then center field, he's a little bit above average. So that alone should be like, all right, yeah, let's get Judge in right any way possible. Because if you have Judge in right with his top 1% defense and Bader in center with his top 1% defense, and then a decent left fielder in Benintendi or Hicks for next season, that outfield configuration is one of the best in baseball defensively. Like not even a question. No one's going to be able to run. There'll be very few bloop singles that it's like, are you kidding me, Hicks? All those ones. Or why did he stop running on that? Why didn't he dive for it? Harrison Bader loves to dive for those. So I guess my end of the lineup, 8-9, as I pick up from Benintendi 7, following that little rant. I have Peraza in the 8 and then Hip Jose at the 9. I think Peraza deserves a call-up at this point. Like Addison at Yankee World on Twitter, he and I've been texting a lot. He's a great guy. He brought up a very interesting point with Peraza, and that is that I believe middle of August, if the Yankees don't call him up until then, they get another year of service time. So I think Peraza's got to be on this roster for the postseason. You move IKF to the bench, I don't care. Everything IKF does, Peraza can do, and probably a lot better. IKF will never hit a home run. Peraza will. And you have him in your 8. Imagine the scenes. Again, in your hypothetical lineup, okay? Harrison Bader slaps single to first, steals second base. Crowd is bumping. Oswald Peraza steps up, baby. 2-0 count, slaps it the other way down the line. Bader scores. Peraza beats out a triple. It's now 2-2 in the 8th. Jose Trevino steps up to the plate, my 9-hitter. First of all, the team's 9-hitter is a 115 WRC plus catcher that is lapping the field with other catchers in baseball. That's amazing. And then he steps up to the plate, boom, 2-run home run, Yankees 4-2 going into the 9th inning, Clay Holmes warming up. Are you kidding me? Peraza crosses the plate as the crowd erupts in the Bronx. I can just see it now.
Yeah, look, that would be insane. If Peraza actually made an impact like that in the postseason, I would be absolutely blown away. I don't think they trust him for that just yet, but I'll tell you what, you mentioned a question before about Harrison Bader. If you'd rather have him, Matt Carpenter, how you'd actually get these guys involved. And in my perspective, I'd like to see, so right now, let me see, Matt Carpenter just had his stats up. He is hitting .306 against righties with 26 hits, 10 homers, and 20 RBIs in just 85 at bats. Against lefties, he only has 11. He has 11 hits over only 30 at bats. So just
like 370 against lefties.
Yeah, man. And here's the thing for me. He's been getting better every month, which is pissing me off because it makes it so hard to leave him out of the lineup. Because he doesn't play.
Benintendi's left out. If it's against lefties, I think that Benintendi's probably the odd man out because Hicks is switch. G's probably DHing or hitting, and Matt Carpenter is probably the best same-handed hitter in baseball right now.
Look, okay, here's the thing. I think that the Yankees will probably operate like this. If they are losing, they will bring Matt Carpenter to pinch hit off of the bench because he doesn't offer you anything defensively. So you really have to be careful in that sense. So I think that he's a guy that if you're losing, you bring him in, or if Benintendi's up and you need a little bit of power and you think, okay, here's an opportunity for us to blow this game open, you bring him in. and see if he can really, clear the shelf there and hopefully put you way ahead. So I think
it's
that's
so hard. It's so hard to
it's
pick
just so
between,
hard to
because
choose.
again, what happens if
It's
you're
an
in the
analytical
game and let's say during the game, Bader has 2 opportunities with the runner in scoring position and doesn't do the job both times? That you definitely would have wished that Matt Carpenter was taking those at bats instead. But then what happens if like you start Matt Carpenter and there's a ball that's a bloop single and Carpenter's noodle arm means that they score a run on it every time? Like there is no win-win situation here. You're gonna sacrifice something with one of those 2 guys in the lineup, and that's honestly like our only 2 like big differences in the lineup. So I guess like for the last like minute here, we'll just do a quick recap of what we have. For me, I have DJ at second base, or DJ at third base, Judge in center field, Rizzo at first, Stanton at DH or right, Carpenter at DH or right, Glaber at second, Benintendi at left, the one and the only Oswald Peraza at shortstop, and Jose Trevino at catcher.
Yeah, that sounds about right for me. I have DJ, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, Benintendi, Glaber, Bader, IKF, Trevino. I like Trevino in that 9 spot. He's been hitting a ton of homers. You never know when he's going to come clutch.
And
IKF,
so clutch. I don't know what it is. He like flips a switch.
And it's always left field. He just ropes these high fastballs to left field. Really good in that respect.
Well, except against Baltimore.
IKF, yeah. IKF, exactly.
Right.
yeah, that's insane. And, Trevino, IKF rather is like, you're just hoping he does something. I think that if Bader gets on base and because IKF makes a lot of contact, Bader can maybe beat out a throw to second base. Bader can maybe, if he slaps a single, like which he does, he slaps singles, he can get to third base. And then you have Trevino up, who has been getting on base a lot and collecting a lot of hits. He can get it to the outfield.
Yeah, Trevino does everything, dude. Again, shout out to Trevino. I don't know if he watches our show, but if he does, shout out to him for winning the Heart and Hustle Award for the Yankees this season. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
And that speaks bounds. When he's your 9 hitter, like, again, I'm not thrilled about the Monty deal still at this moment, but I will be when Harrison Bader comes into the game and robs a home run against Yordan Alvarez. Are you kidding me? Whew. I don't know. I'm getting all excited about the postseason. I'm kind of falling into that trap that a lot of Yankees fans are in right now, where we're only looking at October because we have basically locked up a spot. Like, no one's going to catch us. They've played mediocre baseball, and the Blue Jays have gained 1 game in the past 3 weeks. So I think that there's not a lot to worry about in making the playoffs. I, of course, naturally have my fears about what happens when we actually get there. But we do have basically 2 months of baseball left because the season goes into the second week of October following the lockout delay. So we have 2 months of baseball left. That's a lot of baseball. We need guys to be healthy. We need to preserve guys. If that means at the end of the season, we see Giancarlo Stanton, they just sit for a week, okay, that's fine. Just make sure he gets a game or 2 before going into the postseason so he's fresh, and then he's ready to go. Same with Severino. Sevy going on 60-day does suck, and it hurts even more following the Monty news. But it also works because, like you said, you're the preacher of this. It mitigates his innings, and he was already going to be on an inning count. So this just kind of forces him to be on an inning count without them being like, Louis, we know you're pitching really well, but we got to limit your innings. And that's never a fun conversation to have. So him being on the IL until mid-September is fine because he's going to come back and get 3 starts before the postseason. And we'll see if 1, Louis is going to be the number 3 or 4 in the postseason, or if 2, we're going to have a piggyback and Severino's our secret weapon out of the bullpen. I don't know. Love what the team looks like. Very excited. For this episode was so much fun. I know it was a long one, but it was really fun to kind of dive into what they were thinking for October. Bader seems like a move for next season more than this one, but if he comes back next month and is healthy, that could be a huge win for the Yankees.
Look, yeah, I mean, look, the guy was an F WAR last year. He had a 4 WAR in 103 games. Like, that's a guy that starts. And ultimately, I think he's going to take Hicks's spot. And we're looking at a Benintendi Bader rather, and Judge outfield. So I'm excited to see.
I thought it was a pod.
Hater. Yeah, I know. I was like, God, the Hater, Bader. There's so many freaking names. I'm trying to keep up that all sound the same.
But Darth Vader also works with Cashman's fully operational Death Star.
Okay, this is going to be really dark, kind of weird, but somebody's going to say he's a master baiter at some time this season. It's going to happen. It's natural. It's going to happen. And I'm just going to say that you heard it here first. Someone on Twitter is going to say that, and it's going to be pretty funny, and I'm going to have said it first. So
here we go. This clip's going to go viral after that happens.
Yeah.
It's like the Leo scene, like, He did it. He said the thing.
Exactly. So that, yeah, someone's going to say, I'm just warning you ahead of time. It's obvious. Everyone's thought of it already. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode breaking down the projected batting order for the postseason and why we have our certain thoughts and ideas about which players in which slot. And I'd love to hear your perspectives below in the YouTube comments, because I do think that everyone has a lot of perspective and has some good ideas too. So appreciate the love. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe as always. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.